Warsaw. As usually, we have our meetup on the second Wednesday of each month. So I would like to give you a short introduction. So the organizers besides me is Maciej Machniewski, Gabriela Czucha. Great applause for them. We also have our tech team. So Paweł Reknio and Luisa Haas. And of course, our WarsawJS volunteers. Wait, refresh? Oh, no refresh. Okay, WarsawJS volunteers, so Anna Lukjanowa, Konrad Dziekoński, and Piotr Wcisłek. Yeah, that's our effort of our community. We all together, we create the slides, we do a lot of arrangements, we check if everything is okay with the beer and non-alcoholic, of course, you can see that there. Oh, that's actually a kind of encouragement for you, because the people who come first, they have bigger choice of the beer, and that's something encouraging, right? Because each beer actually is different, quite amazing. So what is WarsawJS? WarsawJS is a community that tries to gather people together, very different people, a lot of variety here, a lot of different views, different culture, different gender, different sexual orientation, different beliefs, and they come together here to share their knowledge, to share their skills, to communicate together and to network. And that's why we have something that is called a Code of Conduct. Oh, no Code of Conduct. No, mission statement and Berlin Code of Conduct. Everyone can subscribe to that. Everyone can contribute. Everyone can say, hey, you didn't include the left-handed people, for example, because when you enter this door, it's not possible to open with your left hand. So that you can obviously contribute here. And variety is important. Respect is important. If the organizers get the message, hey, someone is not respectful here, unfortunately, this will be a warning, and after that there will be no meetups together, because we all need respect. We all have respect to each other, and this is an environment that is needed here. So what I wanted to say, you can actually subscribe to WarsawJSMeetup.com and see our events there. We always have one meetup a month, and also a workshop, so that everyone can exchange knowledge, learn from more mature and more professional programmers. We also, if you want to be a trainer, for example, you also can apply. We create an environment to make this happen. There are recently we organized this workshop in HubHub. So it's very near from here. It's on the other side of the street. We can see that here, actually. And the fun fact is that it's almost only for the cost of the room and the pizza. For 60 zloty, you can actually learn for 5 hours. You can learn how to code from zero, and also for more advanced programmers. So WarsawJS.com also contains all the important information that you can have about that. And especially I want to say thank you to our sponsors, so CK Source, Fresha, Backup, Postclick, Prisma, Sumo Logic, Tidal, and Xfang. Thank you very much, sponsors. Thanks to the sponsors, we can pay for this room, and also to stream, to hire all our organizers team. So that's really important and helps our community. We also have a contest for each lightning talk you perform today. You can get JetBrains 100% discount for a year subscription for the JetBrains license. So it's to encourage you to perform, to start your first presentation. Remember that if you want to be a WarsawJS speaker, you need to have first a lightning talk or a previous presentation somewhere on a different conference. So that's some kind of training that WarsawJS gives you. So today's agenda is Anh Dam, how to save the world as a tech professional, Piotr Wcisłek, jak pomalować słonia, czyli design system w dojrzałym produkcie, and Damian, Podraza, Frontend Web 3.0, so with blockchain. Okay, great applause for the speakers today. And I think we can begin. Oh, I should actually make an intro to Vanani, who is actually helping WarsawJS for a very long time. She is actually in the council of the foundation of WarsawJS for already 4 years and supports us and helps us to get new ideas and make our community and our foundation stronger. So thank you very much, Vanani, and please come here and have your presentation. I think I have somewhere. No, it's not the pomalować słonia. It's this one. Yeah. Okay, and I need to go and next item. No, and I think I can. Okay.
Thank you so much, Piotr. Welcome, everyone. Do I need to connect another microphone, like to put another microphone on, or is this okay? It's okay. Okay, it's for the live streaming. There's another one now. Ooh. Thank you, Piotr, and I'm very happy to be presenting and starting this first meetup in the 2022. My name is Anh Dam, and when it comes to the tech team, I will probably need reminder not to walk too much if I walk too much. So because I have to be in front of the camera, so if I start walking, just remind me. My name is Anh Dam, and I speak fluent Polish. So if at any point of this presentation something is unclear and then you need a translation, just let me know. But I do prefer practicing my English. One of the reasons for that is because I work at an international organization, which is INCO Group. And what we do is we try to create opportunities for future that is more sustainable and more diverse, but also tech-driven and impact-driven. So what we do is we invest in organizations, startups, and NGOs that are creating solutions for more sustainable and more diverse future. But we also train people who might not have easy access to tech training, but they do want to contribute to that future. And one of the directions we're also exploring, and we already started training, is training people into green sectors, also with tech skills, because this is what we see as a very interesting future and very actually necessary for us to thrive as not only as individuals, but in general as a world. So I was very happy that Piotr approached me to make this presentation, because it was an opportunity for me to ask myself a tricky question, which is how to save the world as a tech professional. And I like asking myself tricky questions. I might not give you a perfect answer to this, because I think even though it's a very important question, very difficult, it's also actually not very well stated, in my opinion. So it's more like a clickbait for you to join today. So I believe that a problem well stated is actually half solved. And the problems, the issues I have with this question, how to save the world as a tech professional, is one, what are we saving exactly? Because we are not sure, the world we're experiencing is very different for each of us. So which elements of that world we actually want to save? And what are we saving it from? Who are actually tech professionals? Because we are not all the same. And why would those people, you, us, would actually claim the power to save the world? And how much impact do we actually have as individuals, and how much we can actually change in the future that we are going to experience? So when I ask myself these questions, some of the reflections I have is that, first of all, not all is worth saving. It's not like we want to keep the world as it is. For example, we might not want to still keep the software and services that are helping some people scam individuals into, for example, buying some medicine to enlarge different parts of their body. This is not something that we might want to save in this world. There isn't just one problem, one challenge, one villain, one boss. This is not a movie, so it's a difficult question what we are saving this world from. Each of us has very different skill sets, capacity, motivation, needs when it comes to not only our skills, but time, energy, also our well-being, mental health, and so on. So we have to take that into account. And as individuals, we don't actually have the full understanding of necessary actions to be taken. This is regarding to why do we actually claim the power to change the world? Because one of the things that I want to be very mindful of is that I don't want us to be like white saviors coming to India where we don't understand what's going on and just proposing a great software to solve all their problems. So as individuals, we don't have the full understanding of necessary actions. We can cooperate with each other to understand and work on those solutions. Which brings me to the fact that this is not a movie and we can't save the world as individuals. We can't even create a 10 people Avengers team to save that world. And if you think that your individual's actions make impact, they do make impact just on some level, and that level, unfortunately, is not so meaningful. This is a sad realization that we don't have so much impact, but as soon as we realize it, as soon as we accept it, we can move on to the fact that we can make an impact together through collaboration and through collaborative efforts into that direction. So when it comes to the villains, because this is an interesting question for me, there is more than one villain. And the ones that I've mapped for myself and the ones that we see media focusing on and current trend books and prognosis for the future are these that I listed here. So I'm going to read out loud one by one, and I would ask you to raise your hand if you actually believe that this is one of the issues that we're facing when it comes to the future of our world. So first is progressing climate disaster. Perfect, thank you. Deepening social and economic inequalities. Thank you. Paralyzing disinformation. Oh yes, tech word, yes. Yes, that's you. And this is my favorite one. Economic system that is allowing the richest 1% to continue destructive actions from which the rest of us 99% are suffering and will be suffering even more, aka capitalism. Okay, I actually expected less. So I'm very happy that there are some people that agree with it. I'm not here to convince you if these are real problems, because I can't do that in 20 minutes. I just need to assume that, and I can see that many of you actually agree with those points. So just to make sure that we understand those challenges, progressing climate disaster, this is something that I think that most of us are quite familiar with. This also leads to inequalities, which are resulting in conflict and in a political and social system that is basically not addressing our needs, and paralyzing this information that is, for example, stopping people from taking vaccination or making informed decisions when it comes to the political, social, and also just mental well-being for themselves too. So these are the villains. And if I think about all those doubts about the question I first asked myself and about everything that I mentioned before, I think that a better question is to ask ourselves how to contribute to the shared future we hope for with the skills we have, which means that this is not an individual work, we are contributing. And the future we're building is not only the future that we envision and we are going to live, but this is a future that we're going to share with other people on this planet. And we hope for, because I think that hope is one of the key elements of actually taking an action. Because if you don't have hope, you basically don't have any motivation to take an action. And if you're hoping for the future, and you hope to participate in shaping it, you need to contribute to collaborative efforts. And the skills we have, because each of us has different skills. And why should we actually do it? And why am I speaking here at this meeting to you tech professionals? Because one of the main challenges that I hear organizations that are working on tech solutions to fight climate change, on social impact initiatives, is that solutions need talent and there is lack of talent because you are much better paid by business organizations than governmental, than non-profit, than those that are trying to change something in the long term instead of gaining a lot of money in the short term. So this is why I want to convince you to try to think about how your talent can contribute to the effort that I want to convince you to make. Tech impact is growing. You have impact on almost every aspect of our life. Tech impact is everywhere. It's not only in one country, it's global, it's across the whole world, and you can actually do it. You do have skills, you do have time, you do have capacity. You might have different level or different skills, but still you can do it. And actually comparing to many other individuals who are struggling economically, struggling in their lives, you might be in the much more privileged position than those people. So you can use that privilege to actually make the change. So I kind of drafted, maybe not job descriptions, but I created different profiles of future shapers, a junior, a mid, a senior, and an executive. And I described some of the actions that you can take, you can make inside your organizations as professionals, but also outside your organizations. So if you want to start with something basic, one of the things that you can do is you can explore how your organization, where you're working, addresses the key issues that I mentioned before, or if it's open to it, if it's not addressing it. Just starting the conversation is already the first step that you can take. You can explore in your organization who shares that interest in key issues. So you might not be the one initiating on leading, but maybe there are other people for whom this is important matter, and you can be their ally. So you can openly support their conversations and decision-making regarding environmental and social impact in your organizations. And what you can do outside of the organization yourself is, first of all, educate yourself on how your sector and how your profession impacts negatively key issues. And after I go through those future shaper profiles, I will also share a lot of resources and advices and places where you can seek that information. You can support organizations financially because they need that money, and you can basically support people who are already invested in social impact, environmental impact through your resources. And you can also volunteer initiatives involved in key issues in your sector. And actually, WarsawJS is one of the organizations that is providing very much accessible training to people who want to start a career in tech. And this is something that helps people who might not have such career opportunities change their lives and change their socioeconomic status. So changing the inequalities in the sector. So that's one of the reasons why I'm engaged with WarsawJS, because what they contribute to the community. If you see yourself in the mid-future shaper position, it doesn't mean that you don't need to do the stuff that the junior does. This is an additional step that you can take, and I very much encourage you to do also everything that the junior future shaper does. But here you can also educate your organization on how you affect and can address key issues. So you not only ask if they care, but you also try to teach them what they can do and what's actually happening when they're doing their business. I can recommend you some people who can run such workshops and educational sessions in your organization. So just reach out to me after the meetup or online. You can also support implementation of good practices in your teams and fields that affect key issues. And I'm going to share with you some cross-sector standards that you can use and you can show in your organizations and say that, hey, let's try to implement at least some of those points. And you can encourage your organization to be involved in projects addressing key issues, so supporting maybe not only with your resources, but your organization's resources, supporting other nonprofits and social impact, environmental impact initiatives. And not only educate yourself on how your sector affects the key issues, but how you can also contribute and how your sector can contribute to solving those problems. You can support organizations with your skills in your spare time, But one of the ideas that I really like and I'd like you to consider is maybe if you're feeling burnt out, and I hear that it happens a lot in this industry, then maybe you could consider taking a year gap where you would still work and get money, but you could get involved in an organization, but that might not usually be able to afford your skills, and you can provide those skills through this year gap in which you engage in an interesting project that is working for better good and where you can share your skills. You can also educate your professional network on how your sector impacts and can contribute to addressing key issues, because as I said, this is not individual work. We need allies, we need collaboration. So we need other people to understand what's going on and how we can change it. Senior Future Shaper actually not only encourages to implement good practices, but actually does it. And it is not only encouraging organizations to be involved in projects addressing key issues, but is actually leading them, initiating them, and can also become a role model in the organization to encourage others to join you. So you actually get people to join the force and work together on the change in your organization. And once you already know how your profession, how your sector affects the key issues, how you can contribute, you can also explore how to most effectively contribute to the change and which areas are the key ones. Supporting change with your skills by not only taking a year gap, but actually seeking career in impact organizations, public services, because actually what has the largest impact, and we can also see it through changes that we see in Poland, the decisions that public services, that government is taking and the actions they're taking is really affecting us all. So contributing to it when it makes sense. It's a great opportunity to support it. And I will give you some advice on that later on, because believe me that green sector, impact sector is one of the leading sectors that need tech skills. You don't need to be an NGO professional. We actually need people who have tech skills to help us scale our actions. You can also mentor other professionals on how to contribute to addressing those key issues. And if you're an executive, maybe you can actually shape the strategy and business model of your organization and activities so that it actually includes impact and it plans for a longer future than just the financial benefits that you can get in the short term. You can enforce good practices in organizations, so actually make your teams do this. And you can build partnerships with other organizations to scale the impact. You can educate yourself on sustainable future, so not only how your sector and how your profession affects the climate, the society, but what are actually the future scenarios for the future that would be livable and where we could all thrive and would not mean totally destroying the planet and our communities. You can support others in seeking career in impact organizations once you join those careers, and you can become a thought leader and role model not only in your organization, but for other professionals and organizations. Educate yourself and others. Here are some books, some podcasts that I highly recommend for you to explore. One of my recommendations is The Ministry for the Future. This book is quite new and it hasn't been translated into Polish, but this is a very hard science fiction, which is very much recommended not only by world leaders, ex-world leaders like Obama, but also popular among tech community. And it shows you very realistic scenarios of the world that we can live in, which means that they are not super optimistic, they're realistic, but they also provide some inspiration on how we can face those and how we can prepare for that. So this is something I highly recommend. Donut Economics is a book that shows you how we can try to reshape economic system, and I know that some of you already agree that capitalism sucks. And this is not actually against capitalism like in general, but it does provide different scenarios and points of view to understand how we can change how we basically shape the world through economics and through our work. Organizing for Sustainability, a guide to developing new business models. This is something that you can use if you can actually affect business models in your organizations, and there is open access to it, which means that it's for free. And Worldwide Waste, this is a very new publication I haven't read yet, but it is exploring how digital is killing our planet, but also how we can, what we can do about it. Muda Talks is a Polish podcast that I recommend. And when it comes to English podcast, is How to Save a Planet that I really much enjoy. And it's very easy way to educate yourself. So these are the books and podcasts I recommend and the ways that you can educate yourself. There are also online courses on sustainability. If you want more recommendations, just let me know. There are some also specific tech guidelines for future shapers, which are very specific to the tech industry and also to actually front web developers and anyone involved in tech. One of them is guidance for ICT companies to set science-based targets. This is also available for free. There is an initiative called Ally that gathers information and good standards practices for accessibility. And you are probably already familiar with web content accessibility guidelines. Another web that I recommend is the sustainablewebdesign.org, where you can find many strategies, but also you can calculate digital emission of the websites of the products that you create. There is also the Diversity and Inclusion Handbook that is available for free by Lever. And this is one of the things that you can explore to make sure that you are including proper action in your organizations to make your organization diverse, inclusive to others. You can join or support or work for impact initiatives. And the ones I recommend, international ones, are climateaction.tech, the Green Web Foundation. You can also explore what they share about solutions. It's a very interesting read. There is also Climate Change AI. One of the Polish initiatives is Tech to the Rescue. It's a very interesting organization that creates a network of tech companies, but also beyond tech, who are ready to provide some time of their professionals to help NGOs across the globe scale their actions. Another initiative similar to that is Reset, Digital for Good. And Fundacja Panoptykon is a Polish organization that makes sure that our rights on the internet when it comes to the privacy and the policies are taken care of. And I'm a big fan of this organization. I also added 3 other organizations that are not tech related, because one of the things that I believe that tech organizations, the non-profit tech organizations, they gain a lot of attention right now, and many tech companies want to support them. But this means that other organizations who might not be so sexy for tech industry, but could really use the support, financial support of that sector, might be somewhere in the background. So these are 3 of my favorite ones. Is Dajemy Dzieciom Siłę that supports children, Fundacja Ocalenie, and Serce Miasta is actually very Warsaw centered. I wanted to pick up one organization that is based in Warsaw, and it supports people who are in danger of becoming homeless, and they are facing this issue. Build an impact career. There are some initiatives that can help you decide how your skills can contribute to companies and to organizations that are trying to make a difference and are doing impact work. One of them is Terra.do, and actually one of the creators of Terra.do wrote a very interesting article that was translated on a Sector 3.0 blog, which is also a very interesting book that I recommend. And the article Jak mogę pomóc w rozwiązaniu problemu zmian klimatu, jeśli jestem specem od technologii, shows interesting stories of people who change their careers and also gives you some advice on how to do it. Climate Base is another initiative where you can join initiatives with your skills to face climate change. And one I just found today, and it's very interesting, is 80,000 hours. So the idea behind this organization is that we have 80,000 hours of our work as professionals, and we can make a very conscious decision on how to invest that time. And they're actually helping you understand how you can change your career, not only when it comes to the climate change, but basically build a meaningful career in various organizations. One of the main advices I also want to give you when you'll be deciding what to actually do, what actions to take, is to make sure that you choose something that fits you. So what you should do is not necessarily what people tell you that you should do. It's something that needs to fit your needs, your motivation, and your skills. So the questions you can ask yourself is, what are you good at? What is the work that needs doing? But also what brings you joy? Because without it, it will be very easy to burn out and to feel that you're not actually making the difference. So this is the strategy for choosing the actions that I recommend to you. And just to wrap up, because one of the questions I was once asked was, why should I take those actions and why should I do the good if every single company, every single professional that is successful somehow actually chose not to do good, to make that profit, not to waste time, but to build a career. So I only have one answer to it, and it's basically this meme. So in a game with no consequences, why are you still playing the good side? Why I do it, it's just because being mean makes me feel bad. So that's my reason. That might be your reason too. We don't actually need any reason or any explanation to anyone to explain why we are trying to make an impact. So I very much encourage you to ask yourself what you can do, what you would like to do, so that you can become a future shaper and contribute to our shared future that we hope for. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vanani. There will be 3 questions, if you're
three
okay with it.
Okay.
Or maybe not this time. How do you feel?
Do we have time?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so yes, I can get questions. You can also connect with me through LinkedIn and Facebook, just so you know. And I also have a newsletter when I ask myself many more different questions, and I share them through a newsletter that you can subscribe to on zapamiętnik.com. Question.
There is a question from you.
Yes.
Hi, thanks a lot for the talk. It was very inspirational. My question would be, if you maybe have some examples of specific projects that maybe you're involved in, or maybe projects by those organizations that you mentioned, where our skills could be beneficial. I think it would help shed some light on how we can be impactful.
Yes, sure. So, for example, one of the things that we do as INCO is we are running tech training to people who cannot afford it or who are from underserved communities. And one of the things that you can do is you can be their mentor to show them different paths that they can pursue. So this is an effort to build a more diverse and inclusive future, especially in the job sector. But another thing is that, for example, Tech to the Rescue has many organizations, NGOs in the network where, for example, in a specific region of the world, they're struggling with reaching out to specific communities with information that they need to prepare for the climate change affecting their crops, as for example, rolnicy, farmers. So they might need a tool And sometimes it's not about even building something from scratch. You have to realize that many of the organizations that I'm talking about, they actually might not know that there is Slack, that there is, I don't know, Google Workspace that could help them coordinate the work between them. And sometimes what they need is just understanding how technology can help them. So these are the examples. I don't know if this is a good enough examples, or is it clear enough?
Totally. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
All right, next question.
Oh, and of course, for example, one of the organizations I met during one of the meetings about impact, there is a company in Poland that is creating a software so that different communities like cities, towns, but also specific buildings can analyze how they're using energy, if it's efficient, and how to change it, and also how to plan financially and how to plan operationally to make it more efficient and more sustainable. So for example, like that. And this is one of the organizations that said that they can't hire people because they can't afford the specialists that they need.
One more question from Jacek.
I would like to ask you about this green sector. Would you give some examples when the impact was meaningful and big, that you could measure it actually, that it was some big positive change?
That's a question I can't answer because I was too tired to find a proper example, but there are examples for sure, and I will find it, I will share it with you. When it comes to measurement, we are able to measure as any action. It is possible to measure it. For example, just like the example I gave you about analyzing how communities use energy and how they can create more sustainable solutions. So this is something that you can measure throughout the time. So to see if the changes they applied based on the analysis made by that software are actually creating a change. But unfortunately, right now I don't have like a very specific regarding the climate change.
Okay, amazing. I promised 3 questions, so the last question from Pavel.
Hi there. First
Hi.
of all, thank you so much for the talk. And well, I'm not an expert and I don't know much about economics and politics. However, I just wonder, probably most of the systems have some flaws, but I just wonder if capitalism is so bad, then what's your solution? Do you have any other ideas? What can we do about it? Some better solution?
That's a great question. Thank you. Yes, I actually do have an answer, but you might not like it. So, so first of all, is capitalism so bad? It is so bad that when I actually read the trend books that are even created by banks, they actually start to speak the language that is anti-capitalist. So it's so bad. So, and of course, many systems have flaws, and there is a saying that it's much easier to imagine end of the world than end of capitalism. And it might be true. What I actually myself very personally believe in is creating intentional communities that support each other and can sustain their own living without mass production and without global production. So I'm not saying how it will exactly work out, but actually maybe one of the books that you could read to explore different scenarios, there is a specific book that it's called Another Now, and it does explore an alternative world where there are no banks and there is almost no capitalism. So that might be interesting for you. It is too hard for me to imagine end of capitalism. It is easier for me to imagine end of the world than end of capitalism. But I also heard a very inspiring sentence just recently listening to one of the podcasts, is that it seems like it is easier for us to imagine how to learn to die then imagine how to learn to fight. And this is something that kind of hit me, that yes, I might give up fighting capitalists because I have no chances. This is this 1%, who am I to fight them? But on the other hand, I don't want to stop learning how to fight if I still can. And there is also this thought that even if everything is going to fail and there's just end of world in front of us, it still means a lot to say no to it. Because otherwise you just don't express anything and you just don't take this opportunity to stay true to your values.
Give a hand to Vanani. Incredible. Thank you very much. That was amazing, and I'm so happy that this talk was here today. Now, so the next presentation, Piotr Wcisłek, are you here? Yes. Oh yes. So. Tak. Well. It's such a surprise. It always doesn't work.
Halo, słychać? Halo, halo? Teraz dobrze?
Give a hand to Piotr again.
Cześć, miło widać tak wielu z Was tutaj. Ja jestem Piotr Wcisłek. W TDO pracuję od 3 lat, ogólnie w IT jestem już ponad dekadę. Chciałem Wam opowiedzieć na przykładzie firmy, w której pracuję, takie pewnego rodzaju związek, design systemu i dojrzałego produktu, jak to wygląda. Jednak zacznijmy od historii. Na początku XXI wieku, jako że komunikacja między klientami i sklepami się odbywa coraz częściej, to padł pomysł na startup i tym pomysłem był właśnie LiveChat TDO. Na samym początku rozwój tego produktu wyglądał tak, że po zebraniach idea kolejnej funkcjonalności szła do designu. Wizualizacje, które wracały, były implementowane przez deweloperów, później testowane, wdrażane i tak ten design nasz nie był zbyt wyszukany, jednak z czasem i skille designerów rosły, więc nasze wyobrażenie było takie, że z takiego poziomu dojdziemy tutaj. Niestety marzenia i rzeczywistość nie zawsze idą w parze i kiedy ja przychodziłem do TDO w 2018 roku, to zastałem taki obraz. Można zapytać, co się w ogóle stało. I powodów było wiele. Można mówić, że problemy zaczynają się od głowy i na samym początku designerzy nie mieli źródła, na którym mogliby się wzorować. Przychodziła nowa funkcjonalność, myśleli o niej jako o rzeczy indywidualnej i dlatego też później implementacja tych funkcjonalności odbywała się w izolacji. To, że kolejne funkcjonalności wyglądały różnie, plus nasz wybór technologii, to był les na początku, powodowało to, że nowa rzecz była owrapowana, powiedzmy, w jedno duże ID i wszystkie potrzebne nam elementy reimplementowaliśmy, to powodowało, że rzeczy potencjalnie możliwe do reużycia były tworzone rzeczywiście w wielu miejscach. Pytanie, co można z tym zrobić? No, ktoś mógłby stwierdzić, a użyjmy jakiejś biblioteki komponentów gotowej, jednak to powoduje kolejne problemy. Byśmy mieli dla naszych, powiedzmy, 3 rozwiązań 4. rozwiązanie, a dla innego elementu, gdzie mieliśmy 5 rozwiązań, by było 6. Więc to by nie przeszło. I można by stwierdzić też, że byśmy byli zależni od zewnętrznych systemów, mielibyśmy problemy z update'em paczek, no i nie chcieliśmy pójść tą drogą. Narodził się pomysł, aby wprowadzić do systemu Design System, który daje nam bibliotekę komponentów, tokeny, procesy i dokumentuje to wszystko. Jednak u nas w firmie taki pomysł to no nie spotkał się z jakimś wielkim entuzjazmem, ponieważ firma produktowa musi się rozwijać, tworzyć nowe funkcjonalności i nikogo nie byłoby stać na to, aby zrobić wielką pauzę na 3 miesiące, a w rzeczywistości może by było i pół roku. I żadnej wartości z tego nie ma i no ciężko. Jednak zgadzaliśmy się z tym, że ten brak spójności wizualnej w produkcie jest problemem i jak to bywa przy kawce, wystarczą właściwie tylko 2 osoby, które mają jeden cel i mogą zadać sobie pytanie, to co możemy zrobić w międzyczasie, aby jak najniższym kosztem jak najwięcej tej spójności wprowadzić. I na samym początku wybrane zostały batony. Chętnie bym wam pokazał, jakie mieliśmy warianty, jednak możecie uwierzyć, że odtworzenie całego projektu i środowiska sprzed 3 lat z tamtymi wersjami paczek to jest coś trudnego, więc niestety nie będzie przykładów, ale mogę pokazać, co było później. Zostały wymyślone, określone, zidentyfikowane warianty, które rzeczywiście w produkcie występują i są na tyle różne, że i ważne, żeby je zostawić. I to był też ten moment, gdzie wcześniej używane kolory tylko w heksach dostały swoje nazwy, jak również pomyśleliśmy o tym, aby zdefiniować konkretne rozmiary i je zminifikować do ilości 4. I tutaj jak widzicie te nazwy, to używaliśmy też po prostu nazw koszulek, bo to wydaje się na początek bardzo fajne. I po tych zmianach, jakie zaczęliśmy wprowadzać, to kod wcześniej, który był stylowany klasami, to jest po prostu wywołanie komponentu z jakimś jednym propertiesem. Typ, akurat w tym przypadku warning, który miał w tym komponencie swoją implementację, to również jest użycie komponentu z odpowiednim typem, który ma jedną swoją deklarację i rozmiarem, jak również miejsca, gdzie powiedzmy praktycznie cały baton był reimplementowany. Teraz można pytać w ogóle dlaczego, no ale tak się stało. To po zmianach to były proste rzeczy. Część CSS-a musiała zostać, ale to widzimy, że jest nieporównywalnie tego mniej. Mając taki jedno źródło prawdy, komponent reużywalny, mogliśmy też wspólnie sterować takie stale jak hover, active czy focus. Wcześniej o hoverze właściwie pamiętali wszyscy, o tych pozostałych tylko nieliczni. Te zmiany powodują, że wcześniej chaotyczne komponenty mają już swoje źródło prawdy, a warianty po prostu z tego dziedziczą. Po takich zmianach już jest pierwsze oznaki, powiedzmy, szczęścia i jesteśmy zadowoleni, ale to nie dawało nam jakby spokoju, więc spotkaliśmy się znowu przy kawie i następne na tapet poszła typografia. Przy inwentaryzacji, czyli generalnie Command F i szukamy font size'ów, wyszło taki obraz. Tyle używaliśmy tego, trochę dużo. Na szczęście standaryzacja spowodowała, że okazuje się, że można to zrobić z dużo mniejszą ilością fontów i zostały one podzielone na headery oraz tekst. Głównym tutaj różnicą jest to, żeby nie mieć tego w jednym miejscu, że mamy różne line heighty i letter spacingi, ale o samej typografii to można by robić niejedną prelekcję, więc tutaj chyba na tym starczy. Jednak sam taki podział w żaden sposób nie chroni nas przed tym i deweloperów, żeby nie użyć czegoś innego. I tu jest przykład, jak pomógł nam TypeScript. Stworzony bazowy typ dla typografii posiada mi property as, który mówi o tagach, które mogą być użyte oraz są też dodane rozmiary. I tak powstały heading type oraz text type i każdy z nich składał się z odpowiednich właśnie tagów i rozmiarów, które możemy używać już w produkcie. To dawało nam następnie TypeScript podpowiedzi już w IDE, a w razie jakichś naszych błędów to już pokazywany był błąd. Później ESLint nas chroni przed tym i nie pozwoli wypuszować takich zmian gdzieś dalej, więc tu możemy być spokojni o spójność. Kolejna kawa, kolejne pytanie, co następne i to były inputy. Jednak już mając na uwadze te dwa poprzednie przykłady, to możemy zobaczyć, że zrobił się pewien schemat. Otóż na początku jest identyfikacja tych wszystkich użyć, które mamy w produkcie. Następnie następuje standaryzacja, czyli zastanawiamy się, co tak naprawdę jest potrzebne i jak możemy tą ilość różnych użyć zmniejszyć. I to jest też moment, gdzie może powstać komponent, po prostu nowa wersja razem ze storybookiem i po tym jest czas użycia. Najprościej zacząć jest od tego, że każda nowa funkcjonalność jest tworzona z tych właśnie nowych komponentów. Kiedy dotykamy jakiejś starej funkcjonalności i ją przerabiamy, to też jest dobry moment na zmianę. Możemy również intencjonalnie wyszukiwać starych użyć i je zamieniać. W TD mamy o tyle dobrze, że zostały wprowadzone jakiś czas temu improvementowe piątki, czyli taki czas, jeden dzień w tygodniu, gdzie możemy wprost poświęcić na spłatę długu technologicznego i nie musimy szukać takich luk w czasie, gdzie byśmy musieli to pogodzić z czasem na rozwój produktu. Kolejna kawa, tu już mamy nowy kubek, to pewnie już nowy rok. I dalej wiemy, że ta spójność wizualna jest dla nas niezwykle istotna, bo ona buduje taką powagę naszego rozwiązania. I tutaj widzimy, jak w Figmie wyglądała wizualizacja nowego dropdowna, który był wykorzystany i w dropdownach właśnie i w selectach. I tu są przykłady, jakie były różne rzeczy wcześniej i jak to wyglądało później. I o ile ta spójność wizualna w tej chwili jest osiągnięta, to były tylko zmiany w stylach. Problem w tym jest taki, że osoba, która przychodzi do nas do projektu i ma zrobić coś podobnego, co już jest, nie wie właściwie, na czym się wzorować, bo tych rozwiązań jest kilka. Więc oprócz spójności wizualnej, design system daje nam też spójność w kodzie. I tutaj przykład, jak to wyglądało na tej liście. Także jest drop-down lista, która się składa z itemów. Później jest button z odpowiednią akcją onClick. No i w środku jest drobna ikonka, drop-down tekst i checkbox. Użycie, tutaj widzicie, że nie mamy żadnych ekstra styli. Używamy to as is i to użycie jest proste. Wszystkie i kwestie kolorów i odległości są ograne już gdzieś na zewnątrz i dzięki temu programiści z zespołów produktowych myślą o produkcie i nie mają dodatkowych rzeczy na głowie. I akurat w tych w tym case'ie z dropdownami te wszystkie różne implementacje po prostu wylatują od nas z kodu i tutaj 6 implementacji zamieniliśmy na jedną, no i około 2 do 8 linii kodu zniknęło z naszego projektu. O ile tą spójność już wizualną mamy, to tu mam taki ciekawy przykład, jak wyglądały u nas tooltipy. Po lewej stronie to jest z taką strzałeczką. To były tooltipy jakiś czas temu używane i nastąpiła zmiana, żeby tego nie robić. Jednak ta zmiana nie spowodowała zmian w kodzie, przez co musimy pisać arrow false dla każdego defaultowego użycia. To jest jakaś taka kolejna rzecz, o której musimy myśleć, typu jak robimy herbatę, to myślimy, żeby ją osłodzić 2 łyżeczkami cukru, ale wystarczyłoby mieć w głowie, że to jest herbata. Dlatego ważne są domyślne wartości w komponentach i po zmianach też jakby zmieniliśmy tą defaulta z tą strzałką i to jest może mała zmiana, ale z takich małych rzeczy może dużo oszczędności takich mentalnych wejść. Ten przykład, który widzieliście, czyli ikonka, która ma ten tooltip niżej, to jest komponent icon batona i z takimi 3 propsami on powstał. Można powiedzieć, że no, w sumie no, jest taki straightforward. Mamy on klika, ikonkę i title. Jednak wraz z rozwojem produktu podejście takie, ok, jak coś potrzeba, to dodam może kolor, bo na jednej wizce jest inny, to przecież nic się nie stanie. No ale w porządku, no to nie jest takie jeszcze złe, ale jak najedę myszką, to on się ma robić ciemniejszy, żeby był jakiś efekt, więc dochodzi nowy properties. Oprócz tego, że ikonka się zmienia, to jeszcze background powinien być inny, żeby widzieć, jakie jest pole, do którego to się dzieje. W jednym miejscu ta ikona była większa niż w innym i dochodziły kolejne propertiesy i tak to się rozrastało i to nie jest żart, niestety. Tak to było, przepraszam, jeszcze raz przejdziemy wszystko. Więc używanie komponentów w takim stanie, no to jest, można powiedzieć, szaleństwo, więc jakby wróciliśmy do początku i po zastosowaniu schematu z wcześniej okazało się, że można to wszystkie przypadki rozwiązać 2 dodatkowymi propertiesami. Ścinamy typ, on mówi o tych zestawach kolorów, które są używane w tym komponencie, jak i rozmiar. I te zmiany powodują, że jesteśmy już zupełnie jakby zaprzyjaźnieni z design systemem jako deweloperzy, jednak po tego rodzaju commitach jest takie zdziwienie, dlaczego nikt tego nie sprawdza. I koledzy są tacy trochę nie bardzo chętni. To może wynikać z tego, że tego typu zmiany są po prostu duże i mają dużo plików w sobie, ponieważ jeśli oramy cały projekt z jakąś zmianą, no to jest samo w sobie spora rzecz do sprawdzenia, jak i mentalnie, ponieważ możemy w jednym dużym pull requestie zawrzeć i nowy komponent i do niego dodać testy, storybooka, wymieniać w wielu miejscach stare implementacje na nowe, przy okazji coś tam jeszcze poprawić, bo coś zauważyliśmy i po prostu to jest bardzo ciężko sprawdzać. Rozwiązaniem tego jest podział na mniejsze PR-y, czyli pierwszym pull requestem mógł być po prostu plik z komponentem i jego testami i storybookiem. On z pewnością zostanie sprawdzony szybciej wejdzie na produkcję i inne osoby mogą z tego szybciej korzystać. I każda kolejna zmiana, na przykład zmiana tylko małych butonów albo tylko zmiana batonów typu warning, powoduje, że nasza praca jest płynniejsza, nie mówiąc już o potrzebie rozwiązywania konfliktów z rzeczy, które mogły się zadziać w międzyczasie. I koledzy też będą wdzięczni. Sam fakt jednak, że my ten design system lubimy i używamy, to nie znaczy, że wszyscy wiedzą, o co chodzi i powiedzmy fakt, że my myślimy o jakimś sposobie w określony określonej metodzie w określony sposób, nie znaczy, że wszyscy to mają. Jak mówiłem o tych naszych improvementowych piątkach w Tidio, to około raz w miesiącu mamy takie spotkania gildii frontendowej, gdzie wymieniamy się informacjami i w pewnym stopniu kreujemy przyszłość, typu określamy inicjatywy, jakimi chcielibyśmy je skupić, czyli na przykład możemy określić, że OK, to w najbliższym czasie chcielibyśmy, żeby wszystkie batony już były nowe, żeby się skupić tylko na jednym celu i go dowieść. To powoduje też, że mamy pewnego rodzaju alignment, a po tych spotkaniach tworzymy notatki i też dokumentację. To powoduje, to jest taki plus tego, że nie mamy takiej wiedzy plemiennej i że aha, czemu to tak jest? A zapytaj kolegi, on będzie wiedział. Możemy to przeczytać w naszej dokumentacji i być na tej samej stronie, jak to mówią. A też bardzo ciekawą rzeczą jest to, że w razie czego w pull requestach zamiast przepychanek wystarczy po prostu link do notatki. Słuchaj, na tym spotkaniu ustaliliśmy to i to, wszyscy się zgadzaliśmy, więc jest jakby prośba, żeby do tych ustaleń się dostosować. To powoduje, że wówczas mamy pełne zrozumienie i możemy pracować dalej. Sama droga, jeśli chodzi o design system w Tidio, to ona trwa i my pracujemy nad tym cały czas. Też wiemy, że jest to na tyle duży problem czy temat, że będziemy tworzyli zespół odpowiedzialny tylko za to, żeby programiści zespołów deweloperskich po prostu mieli klocki, z których mogą składać fajne rozwiązania. I do jednych i drugich ludzi, do zespołów potrzebujemy ludzi, więc jakbyście byli zainteresowani, to bardzo zachęcamy do aplikowania do nas. A jeśli chodzi o same podsumowanie, to chciałbym, żebyście wyszli z takim schematem, że potrzebna jest właśnie identyfikacja, standaryzacja i później użycie. No i to się dzieje w pętli. Jak skończymy jeden temat, możemy zacząć inny i kawałek po kawałeczku tego słonia będziemy w stanie pomalować. Dziękuję.
No brawo Piotrze, tym bardziej, że to była pierwsza twoja prezentacja. Nadal pytania po polsku. Czy jest tutaj? Jest jedno pytanie, od razu widzę.
Przepiękna prezentacja, gratuluję, bardzo mi się podobała.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Chciałem zapytać o to, jaka tutaj jest korzyść ponad korzystanie tak bardzo, bardzo ściśle z Bootstrapa. Jakby się korzystało z tych batonów, large batonów w jakimś tam kolorze primary, secondary, to właściwie pracy by było niewiele więcej, a nie wiem, jakie tu korzyści wchodzą dodatkowo w stworzenie takiej dużej biblioteki firmowej.
Znaczy tak, bo my z Bootstrapa, jak ja przyszedłem do Tidio, to już korzystaliśmy, chociaż tylko właściwie ze styli i gdzieś po drodze był być może popełniony błąd, że kolory zamiast być może zdefiniowane właśnie w tych zmiennych bootstrapowych były po prostu nadpisywane i mieliśmy już powiedzmy taki bałagan i tyle tych różnic, że no ciężko to było ograć. Myślę jednak, że tutaj były proste przykłady i tego można jakby nie widać, jednak mamy dużo bardziej skomplikowane i widoki, i komponenty, gdzie to byłby też framework, który byśmy musieli dostosować do siebie i to by powodowało jednak zgrzyty i takie być może dla projektów takich robionych na szybko, że nie potrzebujemy mieć takiego designu tidiowego, powiedzmy, jak jest wizja designerów, którzy to tworzą, to byłoby do zrobienia i być może na samym początku warto z tego korzystać. Jednak poszliśmy w tą drogą.
Super i dziękujemy Jacku za pytanie. Jeszcze jedno pytanie od
Piotra.
Pytanie od Piotra.
Tak, ja nie jestem deweloperem, ale chciałem usłyszeć o tym, ponieważ już w kilku zespołach pracowałem przy design systemach i taka rzecz, która się dosyć często pojawia, to to, że designer decyduje, ok, jakby mamy ten design, ten system, ale przeniesienie batona z marginem na 10 pikseli w te czy we w te to już nie robi tak dużej różnicy i później mimo tego wykorzystanie tych design systemów tworzy się taki chaos i chciałem wiedzieć, jak wyglądało to u was w związku z tym, że korzystacie z tego design systemu, czy to było tak, że deweloperzy wymuszali po prostu na designerach, czy może designerzy też byli edukowani przez zespół frontendowy?
Znaczy się tutaj, jak przez chwilę powiedziałem, że potrzebujemy jakby jednego kolegi, to wychodzi, że najważniejsza taka jest komunikacja i tu powiedzmy jeden deweloper, jeden designer, którzy jakby ten temat czują, są w stanie jakby wypracować pewnego rodzaju rozwiązanie i u nas jest tak, że design system ma jakby dwa źródła prawdy. Jedno jest w Figmie, dzięki temu, że designerzy mają swoje komponenty, oni tworzą rozwiązania z już istniejących komponentów i nie muszą tego myśleć. I my po prostu odzorowujemy te komponenty u nas w kodzie i idea jest taka, żebyśmy też te rozwiązania budowali z tych samych klocków. I wcześniej było tak, że tego nie było i po prostu wizualizacja, jeśli była jedna funkcjonalność podobna do drugiej, to była po prostu kopia i tam były zmiany. W tej chwili, kiedy ten komponent główny się zmienia, no to wszystkie wizualizacje, które były stworzone w przeszłości, też już wyglądają po nowemu. I nie ma takiej sytuacji, że w Jirze się przeklikamy do jakichś rzeczy z przeszłości i ona będzie stara. Ona już będzie, dzięki temu już będzie wyglądała tak, jak powinna.
Super, dzięki. No i nie będzie trzeciego pytania z sali, będzie pytanie z YouTube'a od Woźniak Sosa. Woźniak Sos pyta, czy mieliście dużo bugów layoutowych po drodze? Używaliście może na przykład Persiego?
Persiego mamy. Nie używaliśmy go u nas w panelu, bo to był jakby panel nasz największy projekt. Czy po drodze było sporo? Było, ale daliśmy sobie radę. Jakby nic nie wyszło na produkcję, więc można powiedzieć, że tutaj jakby sukces. Też jest taki plus w tych jakby małych komponentach, że staraliśmy się zmiany trzymać możliwie małe, czyli jak zmieniamy same batony, to nie już powiedzmy rozmieszczenie ich względem czegoś. To zostawało po staremu. Więc jest to wyzwanie, trzeba o tym pamiętać oczywiście i żadna zmiana nie była puszczona bez testów, to na pewno.
Super, mega. To wszystkie pytania w takim razie. Dziękujemy bardzo,
Dziękuję.
Piotrze. Wielkie gratulacje dla Piotra. No i teraz zapraszamy. Now we are going to welcome our third speaker. So Damian. Damian Podraza. Give a hand him. This will be a quick replacement. I hope you have also some. Okay, there will be shortcut circuit on. Yeah.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Oh, yeah. No?
Give a hand to Damian.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Damian, and this is my first time on WarsawJS. First time as a presenter, and first time as a member. It didn't take me long to get here because I have an office on the second floor on this building. So it was really easy to get here. And today we're going to talk about the front-end Web 3.0. This topic is maybe a little bit mysterious, but it was challenging for me to present it in such a short period of time but I hope we're gonna make it. I'm working as a front-end developer for more than 5 years, and I started working in a corporation for 3 years, then in banking for 1 year, and last 2 years I've been working on startups, on blockchain startups. And currently I'm working on Woo Network, which is the fintech startup that have liquidity pool and exchange for professional traders and decentralized exchange also. And today we're gonna talk about, we're gonna understand what the blockchain is. We're gonna compare Web 2 and Web 3, about the architecture of decentralized applications, and smart contracts at the end, coding. But coding is like overstatement because I'll be mostly showing you code. Okay, so the question for you guys. Everyone probably heard about blockchain. Who heard about blockchain? Many of you. Who understand blockchain? Oh, plenty of people. That's great. So the first part, I would like to present to you how to what the blockchain is. And I prepared this. I have this demo prepared by someone else, but explains really well what the blockchain is. So first of all, we have to understand what the hash is. So hash is a fixed length string, string with a fixed length, and hash is generated by the hashing algorithm, and based on the data we input, the hash changes every time. Okay. So now, as we know what the hash is, let's move to the block. So block is a wider explanation what the hash is. We have also a hash, but now we have 3 inputs data. We have block, we have nonce, and data. So data is the same as before, and we have another input which is block number, and nonce, I will explain a little bit what does it mean. So in this example, we see that this hash starts with 4 zeros, and this is very important because when we change this data, we see that the hash changed to the start with 8043. So we are missing these 4 zeros, and we want those 4 zeros because right now, like you see, this block is red, so it's not valid. So in order to make it valid, we have to mine it. So mining basically is just find this nonce, this number that's gonna generate our hash that starts with 4 zeros. And mining is probably, you guys heard, it was like very popular when people were buying graphic cards to PC to mine blockchain. It was a trend, and this is basically in like really simple concept what the mining is. So someone is using the computing power to find the hash that's going to validate the block. So now we know what the block is, we can move to the blockchain. So blockchain, as a name suggests, is a chain of blocks. So in this example, we have 5 blocks, and they have another input, which is previous hash. So this block number 5 pointing to the hash of block number 4. And when we change the data here, we now see that this block is not valid. So in order to make it valid, we have to use the computing power to make it valid again. But what's going to happen when we change the 4th block? Now we see that we generate a new hash on 4th block, and the block 5 pointing to this block 4. So those 2 blocks are not valid. So we have to use even more computing power to validate those blocks. And that is why it's so powerful to manipulate the data in a blockchain, because when we go back to the past, the more we go back, the more computing power we need. But the true power of blockchain is his distributed nature. And like we see here, we have also the blockchain, but we have three copies of blockchain, pure A, B, and C. And basically, it means that when someone, for example, want to manipulate the data in a blockchain, and blockchain is a big database, like public data, decentralized database. So if someone change it and mine it, for example, because he's the owner of this blockchain, we see that something is not going, like on the first, everything is fine. But when we compare this hash of the first block start with 4CA, and next one is 4B9, and the next one is 4B9. So those two blockchains are like, okay, something is wrong with the first one because it has different hash for the same block. So in a blockchain, it's like a democracy. So in this case, when there's more than 50% of blockchain with the same hash, the other is just invalid. And that is why it's like almost impossible to manipulate it. And on the most popular blockchain, which is Ethereum, there are right now around 7,000 of nodes. So like the copies of blockchain spread around the globe. So someone would have to be capable to own more than 3,500 nodes to manipulate the data. So that's why we love the blockchain. And going back to the presentation, now we can explain what a Web3 is. So we had a Web 1. It was like read-only. So we were just like reading content. And then we moved to Web 2. So it's what we are living right now. Social media was a very big part of Web 2. And now we can read and write data, but this data doesn't belong to us. And this is what Web3 introduced, which is like read, write, and owning the data. So user, like I'm owning my data, and no one has access to my personal data. And but there are also like limitations to it. But that's the big part of Web3. So benefits and limitations. So first of all, main benefits that the Web3 is open to everyone. Web3 is open to everyone, and like for example, Facebook right now can delete the post, can block the account, delete the account, and in blockchain this is impossible because no one owns the data. Security, we have payments built in with a native token, so it's already secure, and this transfer doesn't require any personal data. And zero downtime, because it's decentralized, so it's like impossible that it will go down. But we have also limitations, and the big limitation is scalability. The transactions are much slower because, like I mentioned, like I showed you before, it requires computing power. Every time, every transaction requires someone to mine it, to validate those blocks. We have a security, but there's also a cost. Like the second one, so cost is when we put the code into the blockchain, we have to pay it. Any program, any data, every time we write something, we have to pay it. Only read access is free. And the most interesting part, like for me, is UX. So interacting with Web3, because this is on my side as a front-end developer, we can make the Web3 more popular and easy to access, because right now for the like standard user, it might be a little bit difficult to use it. Okay, so now like brief comparison of the Web 2 and Web 0 based on the architecture. So on the left we have architecture of the Web 2. This is, we all know, like front and back and a database. And on the right is decentralized application architecture. We have Frontend, and we have Ethereum, a blockchain. And the main part is Ethereum virtual machine, which is a platform for building the decentralized applications. And on this platform, we are running programs. And those programs are called the smart contracts. Okay. As I show you as an example, to compare like real Web 2 and Web 3, let's look at the example. We have a exchange which is Web 2, like Web 2 application. So here, when you register, you have to put your personal data, email, and this data doesn't belong to you. And we also have the centralized exchange. And here we are using only our profile, which is already created, and there's no personal data. There's like only a string, our address. We have a address which looks like this. So it's like almost random string, and this is how the Web3 application validate this is us. And I will show you later the example. Okay, so like I mentioned about smart contracts, the most popular blockchain is Ethereum, and Ethereum using their own language, which is Solidity. And Solidity is like, I would say, is a combination of C++, JavaScript, and Python. It's objective language, and in Solidity we can write smart contracts, which are the blockchain applications. And yeah, let's go. Let's try to show you something like real example. I hope you guys see it. Maybe we'll make it a little bit, yeah, zoom in. So what I'm showing right now, it's Remix IDE. It's Ethereum IDE that you can write smart contracts on a browser. You don't need like your own IDE, but you can use it, of course. We can use it. We can do it in Visual Studio Code also, but it's very useful. So right now, for the purpose of this presentation, I prepared like really simple application. It's like, we can say it's a backend for our frontend. In Solidity, we go through it very quickly. We always make sure that we have a correct version. We start with word contract, and we put the contract name. And here we are going to store a programmer, so with properties name and age. Then we have a mapping, so it's like a storage of key value pairs, and a function which looks like almost like in JavaScript. We're gonna store a programmer. We're gonna pass name and age, and here we declare this function is public, so anyone can use it as long as he knows the contract address. And then we create the programmer and push it to programmers key value pairs. And then the next function, we need to get some data to show it. So we're gonna get the programmer age based. It's also a public that returns an age, and that's all. So okay, it's very simple application. So what we're gonna do right now, we have to compile. The Solidity language has a file that has sol extension. When we see compile, it's compiled, there's no errors. Then we use this button to deploy the smart contract to Ethereum test network. And we see right now that on the right, we have in our browser, in Chrome browser, we have an extension which is MetaMask. It's our wallet. It helps us interact with blockchain environment. It's the most popular way to interact with blockchain. And right now, it tells us that we have to pay this amount of this native token to deploy this backend to the blockchain. And we click confirm, and we can check the status. It's going to take some time to validate the block on Ethereum test network. On a production, it takes much longer, but on test network, usually it's a couple seconds. And yeah, we have information that the contract is deployed. And when the contract is deployed, we can see him here. And we see that we have those methods we can use to interact with smart contracts. And we have this address we can copy of the smart contracts. And one important thing is that we also have something called ABI. ABI is like, I'm always laughing that it's like API because it's like this contract description. And we need this to tell our JavaScript application that in smart contracts, we have those methods and how we can use it. But it's gonna, I just want to mention it, but we will see it in a second. Okay, so now we have deployed the smart contract. So we have a, I would say, backend ready on a blockchain platform. So let's move to the front-end part. I prepared like really simple application. I'm not even calling this application, but I'm just a demo, I would say. And we're gonna connect with the blockchain. We're gonna add a couple of the programmers to the blockchain. So we're just gonna store the data. And then we're gonna display here age for the programmer with the specific name. Okay, so first of all, we have our IDE here. First of all, when we like create React application, we need one thing. We need Web3 library. We have installed the Web3 here. So Web3 is like one of the most popular libraries to connect with smart contracts from the front-end part. There are also other libraries like Ethers, but this one is like the oldest one and has the biggest community. So when we have this library installed, we create the instance of this library. So we just like import it, and we're gonna pass as a parameter, we're gonna pass the provider. How are we gonna get this provider? When we install this MetaMask plugin to our browser, we see that we, on a window object, we have Ethereum object. And this Ethereum object has some properties, and we can use it, and we can pass it to Web3 library, and then the Web3 will know that we want to connect with smart contracts using the MetaMask. So when we have the instance of it, then we're gonna import it. We have instance, so Web3, we already have it. What we need contract address. We can get it from here. I copy and paste it. Yeah, we have a contract address. Like I mentioned before, we need this ABI. After compiling the smart contracts, we have something like ABI. I will show you how it looks like. So this ABI is like a contract schema that it's a description of our smart contracts. So using this, Web3 can knows how to interact with smart contract. So we also import this ABI, and to create a contract that we can do something in our application, the contract object, we just create new instance of Web3. We pass this ABI, so description of the contract and contract address. And now under the contract, we can use the contract methods. So let's use it. Okay. So first of all, we want to display in our application. In our application, we want to display this our account number. So in order to do it, we just gonna use the Web3 and we are right now not interacting with the smart contracts. We're just interacting with our MetaMask, and we're gonna save this. We're gonna store it. Okay. So right now, when I click connect, it asks us that this application wants to connect. We just click approve it, and then we see our address. That this is when we go here. This is the same address I got here. So I'm connected to the blockchain tested network, and this is my account. And I just want to show you guys that we can display it here. Okay, so let's make it. Oh, 1 second. It's difficult to operate with one hand. Okay. Let's make sure that we're gonna display every time. So I use the use effect. So you're gonna have this account always visible. Okay. So next, right now we have form, name, and age. So we want to add the programmer to the blockchain. So we have a function here, submit programmer, that's run on click on form button. So we can use await. We have a contract object, and contract has methods. And one of this method, like we have here, is store programmer. So we're gonna call this method store programmer. And like we see here, we have to pass name and age. So we have name and age. And in order to call this method to tell the Web3 that we want to store some data, we are using method send. And this method require one parameter at least. We have to tell from whom we are sending this. And we're going to send this from our account. Okay, I hope it's going to work. Okay. So let's say we create Damian, and he's like 29. Let's click add, and nothing happened.
I think the send method was expecting a string.
String, name and age. I think it's okay. We have a name and age. One second. Oh, that's weird. Let's maybe disconnect. Let's connect again. Let's see what the console says. Contract method.
Have you changed the API file in the project?
Yeah, I didn't save it. Yeah, that's a good part. I didn't save it. I only pasted it. So now we will good to go. Yes, we got it. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, we are ready. So right now we see that we have a contract interaction and we have to pay this amount of Ether to store this data in a blockchain. So we just click confirm. We can check the status here. Yeah, it's saved, and let's create another programmer. Let's start Anna also. And it's pending. The logs are validating. And yeah, we store it. Okay, so now we have to make sure that this data is really stored in a blockchain. So let's display it. We have this function that if you pass name, we're gonna see what's the age of the current programmer. So we're gonna get the data. Okay, so let's type age, and we also going to use the contract method. Contract methods, and the contract method we had was get programmer age. We pass the programmer age, the programmer name, and when we want to get the data, we use different function. We use it call. Okay, and then let's store this age. Okay, so now let's type Damian, submit, and like we see, the data is in a blockchain, and we can type Anna. Anna was, I think, 19. Yes. So this data, like we see, there's no pop-up from the MetaMask because like we are getting this for free. We don't have to pay it. read access is free. And we deploy the contract. We just get the data from the contract, and like you see, it's not that it wasn't that difficult. So thank you very much, guys. I know it was. Hopefully it worked. So that's great. And if you guys have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
1, 2, 3, 4 questions, 5 questions. You asked a question today. I think you were first. I think this time.
Thanks a lot. Great demo, by the way. I have a question about the Web3.js library, because right now we have over 10,000 different tokens and cryptocurrencies. Does this is this the one library to rule them all, or for each, for example, for each token we need to use the different library?
Like right now, like I said, there are two main ones, and it's ethers and Web3. And basically, at my job, I work in different projects on creating dexes when we swap different thing on Binance Exchange, on Ethereum, and everywhere we use Web3, and it was enough. And I know that there are different networks that are getting more and more popular.
Yeah, like Solana or Matic, they are different networks. So this Web3.js is also work with them, or they should have some different library for that?
Actually, I never use the Web3 with different chains, like Solana or Matic. I've always used with chains that are based on Ethereum network. But that's a good question to look at it and figure it out, which one would be the best.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So there are also 2 questions from YouTube. Gondron already asked a question. No. I dropped last Gondron question, so this time I will read it. So, question: what problems does Web 3.0 solve, and for whom? What are the new capabilities generated to users over Web 2.0 apart from paying for every write operation?
That's a good question. So I don't know. This is actually the question about the value of the privacy. That's the main question, not the only one. But for me, for example, the great part is that everything what I do is not going to be like tracked, and my data, especially my personal data, are only for me. And whatever I do, it's only I know that I'm doing it, unless someone knows my address and can check whatever I'm doing. But basically, I think it's not gonna be like used everywhere, because Web 2 is gonna stay with us. Like for example, I know that there are right now people are working on social media on Web3. There are even some that are working. There's a YouTube on Web3 already working. You can Google it. And the great part about it is the community. They all want to create something that's like based on a privacy. And the other part is like working together, because we have like a concept of decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, and this is like really interesting concept that everyone can be paid for, not for like a work, but they're gonna be paid paid for playing games, for learning, for doing stuff we are not paid normally, and this is what blockchain brings. This is like really early stage, but I think it's gonna bring the society on the next level in this case. But I really recommend to check this decentralized autonomous organization, DAO. This is like really interesting concept.
All right, amazing. So the last question from the room. Who first? Who's first? Come on, guys. There were 4 questions. Okay, you were first. No, but no, you had a question. There was Oleg before, and you had a question? Be honest. You had a question before. Aha.
Now.
Okay. All right.
So my question is about like computer power we need to do such like even simple operation. Like, is it much more than doing it right now? Like, wouldn't it be the case if like lots of people start using this like blockchain? Wouldn't it be the problem with the computer power?
You talking about like you as a user? Okay, so like you as a user, don't need like a computing power to interact with smart contracts because everything, all the computation and everything is running on those blockchain nodes. But the part about the popularity is that the more people use it, the more transactions and the more data will go through the pipeline. And then, for sure, we need more computing power. But people are working with different chains that are more, the scalability of those chains is different than, for example, in Ethereum. So the fees are lower, and you can, for example, in Ethereum block, you can pass the fixed amount of transactions. And let's say we have like 300 megabytes of transaction, or let's say like 1,000 of transaction. But we have right now have blockchains that are they can pass like 1 million transactions per second, and we introduce different algorithm and different ways to optimize this, and I think the problem still is, and we still have problem with the scaling of the network, but I see that with every like month is getting the blockchain is getting faster and faster, and there are new ways to speed it up.
What an amazing presentation. Thank you very much, Damian. And you could probably see that pizza is there, so we can actually start to eat and invite also the Lightning Talk speakers. Thank you very much, Damian, again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is also a vegetarian or vegan.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
Let's continue with the pizza. It's going to end in a moment, so yeah. 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Evgeny is going to tell you something about a quick start for React projects. So you have only 3 minutes now to finish your piece of pizza. And yes, and that's your target for now. So please prepare for the lightning talk session. If you also want to have your lightning talk, you can obviously perform. It's fine for you to start from zero. Like, you know, you can just jump in and say something interesting connected with coding, with programming, with JavaScript, with anything connected here. Oh, and also I wanted to say that Tidio is our sponsor, not Tido. It's Tidio. I was mistaken. I pronounced it wrong. It's Tidio. All right. Yeah, and other sponsors, of course. Other sponsors. Let's give a moment for sponsors, because sponsors are paying for the pizza. Where are they? Yeah, sponsors. So CK Source, Fresha, Pack, PostClick, Prisma, Somologic, Tidio, and Xfang. Yeah, these are our sponsors. And here's our presentation. And here is the presentation of Evgeny. Starting in 100 seconds. And I want, yeah. Can you be a bit, just a bit. Shh. I told you, what? 100 seconds. I was honest, really. Excuse me. Okay, all right. Just a moment. Give a hand to our lightning speaker. 5 minutes. Timer started.
Thank you. Do you hear me well? Oh, Piotr. Thank you again. Do you hear me well? Okay. So, hello there. Hello, YouTube. My name is Evgeny, and I'm a JavaScript developer. And last 6 years, I've been really into single-page applications development. And today, I will talk about the must-have features for a modern single-page application and my way to start a new React project with all these features so quickly. So, at first, let's talk about the feature related to developers, the file structure. I believe all of you faced the situation. You joined the long-standing project, you cloned the repository, you install dependencies, and you start to sorting out the code. And then you open the components folder. Do you feel it? It's fear. This folder is endless. Even here, not enough space to see all components. But you're a professional, and you start to investigate how the components relate to each other, and they're related like this. But many projects live this way, but this brings the following problems. Components relations are unobvious. The development speed slows down at the same rate as the components folder grows. Developers become feature owners, and departure of one developer can hurt the team. And also, the speed of new developers onboarding increases. To avoid such problems in new projects, I use the following project structure. Globally, our app doesn't consist of routers, components, etc. On the app level, our project consists of view wrapped by global store provider, and that's it. On store level, you can use whichever state management tool you want. Let's check the view layer. The view has the entry point that describes what the view consists of. And the view consists of routes wrapped by error boundary component and global context providers like SIEM or network status. And only then, router import pages and pages import components. And here we go again, components folder. Once I've tried, I always use the atomic design concept for component structure. There are 3 types of components. Atom is the smallest one, like button or title. Molecules consist of atoms and implement business logic, but can't affect the global state. And organism is a combination of atoms, molecules that can affect the global store, but remain independent. An example of an organism is a shopping cart. An example of molecule is a product item in a shopping cart. So now our view relations look like that. That's much better. The structure is really easy to navigate and to work with. The second feature is code splitting. I use the lazy imports for the pages, and I wrote the lazy route component for a very basic implementation of a skeleton, which shows while the chunk is loaded. The third point is the internationalization. I use the I18 package that gives us few benefits. There are no hard-coded strings in the layout, and we can automatically show the application on the user's browser language. The fourth point is a theme. I used the React context and command arc and light selectors, which are concatenated depending on the selected theme. And theme provider implements the automatic color scheme switching according to the color in the browser. One more tool here is a service worker. Service worker, I use the workbooks libraries that Google recommends to create workers, and having a worker gives us the really great possibilities. The application can work without the internet. We are able to manage all caches of our resources and requests, and guaranteed to reset the cache after the new version is deployed. And thanks to the worker, we can implement the notifications that will be shown when the internet goes down. So the user with network issues won't play dinosaur game, but will be able to use our application even without the internet, and will be warned about the network interruptions. And all these features I've packed into WarsawJS React app boilerplate, so I can use the only one command, and all these features are already implemented in my new React project. If you are interested, you can visit the WarsawJS.org page and check the design theme, try a few features, and generally use the command to get it. Feel free to chat with me or create the issue in the repo if you have an idea how to make the boilerplate better. And that's it. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. This was a lightning talk, so no questions. However, I will share this link also on WarsawJS Slack on our general channel. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, are there any other lightning talks here? Anyone would like to? Oh, and I have for you the JetBrains license for the 100% discount for your subscription. Okay. Anyone? Anything? Okay. No. So this means only one thing, that I need to tell you something. Yeah, so we're going to have a conference on March 26th. That's no internet. Okay, now it's showing. So I wanted to say that our conference starts on March 26th this year, and currently we have a discount for WarsawJS. It's WarsawJS 20. That's our code that you can use in our shop. And yes, and yeah, well, I think I can also share a link also on our general Slack. Who of you is at WarsawJS Stack? Hands up, please. Not many. Okay, that's great, because this means that this information is valuable for you. That at WarsawJS Stack you can, for example, get free tickets for WarsawJS workshops. At WarsawJS Stack you can get JetBrains license, or you can also get a discount for our conference if you want. This is our lineup. Nothing changed since December. We wanted to have this conference in December. However, the restrictions were so strong that our speakers from outside the European Union had 2 weeks of quarantine, so it didn't make sense, and we moved it to 26th March. Yeah. So as I said, it's open sale, and yeah, and that's everything for today. So thank you very much, and see you always on second Wednesday. Thank you.